welcome to round 15 of AOR's F1 Championship, finishing this season in Brazil. Looking a bit dry overhead, but we've got 15 drivers ready and raring to go. Even in the comments, love to hear from you. Predictions, funny comments, we'd like to hear it all. I am Greg, otherwise known as the Wufafa. I'm a commentator for this evening and should be starting off in sometime in mid-January for the next season as well. So, I've got a few traditions of just following the first driver out as the one we're going to follow around the full first lap. I'm just going to use this bit of time to get up a few assistances for me to keep a track of all the action as we go around. Bit of telemetry so I can see who's got some ERS, bit of lap data so we can see who's improving and who's not, and a track map so we can see who's about to cross the finish line. We've got 3 watching already. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll clear that away and we're going to try and see who is going to jump the gun and go out first. Unfortunately, I'm not privy to the weather information, but if it stays like this, it stays dry, we should be in a fast and furious race. If it does decide to get a bit darker, we might see some strange strategies in terms of setup coming to the field. So we've got that to look forward to. And we're just waiting for the first drivers to jump into action. Have we got any, before any of the cars hit the track, do we have any just flat out predictions from the people in the comments? As I'm starting to see the Ferrari mechanics of Tash starting to ready up, and out he goes. Put one red car go past another. Ferrari past Mercedes. Kind of like it was this morning. Won't spoil too much as he heads out this very of solid Ninja Snake. But we're, like I said, I was going to stay on board with Tash, but seeing as he doesn't seem to want to get moving around this lap, we're going to go on board with solid Ninja Snake, who I must admit I've been butchering his name as of late. He's been Solid Snake Ninja, Solid Snake, Solid Ninja, amongst other things. But we're going to go on board with him first of all as he heads around Pinheiro. I've probably said that incorrectly, but that's what it says in my little cheat sheet for the corners. As he heads down through Magulio and up Junkao. He can open his DRS around about now and pass the pit entry point, cutting this white line to try and get the fastest route to the line, but he takes a high and wide one, try and maximise his speed, increase the distance so he carries more speed as he goes into the centre S. Minimal curbing to start off with, maximum curbing on the exit. You've got enough grip this time in the session to hug that inside curb and really throw the car around, trying not to collect the Aston Martin who's just exiting the pits. On the Cedar de Largo. Nice tight exit up there. Heavy on the inside curbing. Tries to pull it back in. Shifts down to 3rd gear. Potentially 2nd for this one further down the hill. Oh, he's in very high gears early on. Maybe the track is just a little bit slippy that we can't see the rain falling, but maybe the track is just a little bit slippy. He's asking for a lot of traction out of his gearbox there. As he's going to get slipstream all the way to the line here. This would be a great asset on his first lap. And this time elects to cut the pit lane. It's the fastest route to the line. And goes with a 1:09.3 to start off the session. I believe it was... Who were we on board first? And it was Tash has beaten that by over a second. And Creamer slotting in between those with a 1:08.3. Pilot going to cross the line now as well. 3rd place. Time's not too far apart from one another yet. It's relatively even spread. We've got Ferrari just coming towards the line here of Gabs. He puts himself P3. The Ferrari is so far performing well. We go a bit further back. We have an Alpha Tauri of Bachelor Lightyear. Goes towards the line and goes P5. So yeah, a lot of consistency around the low 109s with a few breakaways in the 108s. We have a Williams of Michelin just starting. It's AVT Pasty that's coming to the line. Hard to distinguish between these purple cars. And he goes pole with the 108.1. So yeah, real break. The grid is pretty much split in half at the moment. The big jump between those and the 108s. Only J-Tray really bridging the gap. But what can Dominique do? As he does round the exit. I'm not making that up. That is in fact the name of the corner. And round the Sinaloga he goes. Just about keeps it valid there. Really playing around with track limits. He's going to come into a bit of traffic here. Hopefully it doesn't hinder him too much. The Alfa Romeo does see him coming. The Haas driver using the low gear to get maximum turn in. Opts for a few more revs coming out this corner. Throws it out wide to get the maximum turn in possible. Very easy to lose the rear end as you head down the hill. As Mushlan, who we weren't on board with, sets a very, very impeccable 108.151. Only 8 thousandths of a second separate him and AVT Pasty. But we're back on board with Dominic 18. He powers towards the line, gets the DRS wide open, cuts the pit lane just like everybody's going to be so far this session, and puts himself P9. Who else we got on track? We've got an Alfa Romeo of Max Duca, who I suspect will be pitting. He is. AVT Pasty, who will also be pitting. About the Ferrari of Tash, who then goes with pole. The first man into the 107's blistering pace. That's Michelin coming around the final sector. We've got Chawan, who's looking for a competitive lap time in here. Chawan, who's only just outside the 108s at the moment. He didn't catch his last sector time, so they were a bit in the dark of how this lap time's going to finish. As around his final bend, I suspect this will be into the 108s. My crystal ball is just about shiny enough. In there he goes as Gabs makes a Ferrari 1-2 as he crosses the line. Fantastic lap. Tash is down. AVT Pasty is purple in the middle. He's a 10th up. This won't quite be enough for pole. We'll put him in the front row, I believe. DRS wide open, committed to the wall. Does improve. Only by one place. Not quite on the front row just yet. Shawan going around slowly. But Pilot will use up a lot of his ERS. Already only just finished in the first sector. He can regain a little bit coming around the tighter infield section. As he heads up towards Ferradura. As it looks like the track is getting a little bit slick. The sky is darkening. Very hard to tell from the driver's perspective how much the track is being affected. I think it's a very, very sturdy front end into that corner. And down the hill he goes. He's going to have his teammate ahead of him, possibly for some slipstream. As he is nearly 4 tenths up. This will really throw him inside the top 10. If he is going to get slipstream from his teammate, it's going to be at the last second. As he doesn't, teammate slows down to go into the pits. Chawan not feeling like offering anything there. As he does, he just jumps inside to P8. We've got an Aston Martin of J-Tray coming towards the line. Just about to start his lap. And we've got another one on an out lap. He's further on that. We've got Rivershan, who's about to cross the line. With almost a 2/10 improvement, we'll move him up only to 11th. I don't think the track is quite ramping up as the drivers expected. But Creamer's just starting. Max Duca also just starting. Chawan is on his way in. The Aston Martin of J-Tray. Let's pick him up in the middle sector. Potentially going to use Pilot to get a bit of slipstream assistance. Round he comes, how's his exit? Oh, he's all over the curb, but he's managed to keep the car straight and level. But being on that curb, how much has that unsettled the car? Can he do much with this lap still? He was up. Yes, he does lose time on that curb. 2 thousandths down on his previous time, so he's lost 2 tenths. I'm guessing just in that corner. Oh, his Creamer gets even more on the curb and has a massive snap. Will not be surprised if he abandons this lap here, and I think this was an in lap anyway. Zevchan also elects to come in. Dominique in the first sector goes wide. Manages to not invalid though, does lift off. I don't think he's quite pushing still. Wait to see what his sector time looks like. As we are just getting a bit crowded in the middle sector. Yellow flag's being thrown. Dominic does still seem to be pushing. He's not really using his ERS, so I suspect he's either going this lap. But I've just noticed we do have both Ferraris out on track. The two Ferraris that are vying for this pole position. One further around the track is Tash 22, but he is 2 tenths down. I think this track's going away from them. What about Gabs? Is he up? A bit far away from the detection marker for us to tell just yet. But tell me in the comments, does that track look shiny to you? It looks shiny to me. Max Stuka looking like he's in on an in lap. It's probably the last time we're going to see him go round before final runs. But we've picked up AVT Pasty just entering into the second sector with a 10th in hand. He does have a nice little gap around the track here. McLaren, about 2 or 3 corners away, heads down the hill, tries to keep the speed in the car, doesn't quite keep it to the inside apex, but the car does seem planted. Rear slightly stepping out there, but I don't think I'll mind too much about that. He's got the power down. He now has a purple middle sector. 2 tenths improvement. This will put him pole if he can carry the speed. Did seem to go at exit. This could be pole on the cards here. Halfway through the session. ERS depleting. DRS wide open. Hugs it to the wall. And yes, beats pole by nearly 2 tenths. Fantastic lap by AVT Pasty. Gabs is unfortunately down. What about Tash? Dives into the pits. Thinks I can stick on another set of tyres here and go out again. Rising Moon is marginally up on his time as he rounds the final bends. This will move him up a couple of places if he can keep it. He does. Marginal improvement, but important one. Those in front of him were not too far away. We have an Alpha Tauri crossing the line. Solid Ninja Snake, who once again does make a marginal improvement, but stays bottom of the pile for now. Rivershan coming through the first sector. Oh, as he does get a bit impeded by the McLaren. Has that lost him too much steam? And then has the Aston Martin on the outside. Worst time to spot those cars in your vision. Now we'll see as he goes through this final part of the second sector if he's in fact given up on this time. Like I said, he was up, and I think he's harvesting now. Rising Moon is down. Prima has invalidated and looks like he's into the pits. Chawan is on Little Adventures in the Amazon. Looks like, yeah, really, nobody's improving. Wait to see if AVT Pasty's improving on his pole time. He wants to put this out of sight, out of mind. As he heads up to Ferradura, as the clouds spread over the circuit. The track is really degrading in terms of pace now. AVG Pasti does not mind though. He's benefited in that first sector, but not so much I feel in the second sector. It looks like the rear is just stepping out on him a little bit. Yeah, he's not lost time, but he's not really gained it either, as he has a huge snap coming out of the final corner. This is going to cost him all the way to the line. Does he bail out? He does. Smart decision. He was still able to get in and out with that. He hasn't got much time. All down to how fast his Red Bull mechanics can get him in and out. Chawan is marginally improving. We're going to follow his lap over the line. Will a marginal improvement do much for him here? It will do, but he elects to go in. So one's out on circuit limit are Tash, Creamer and J-Tray. All on out laps for the moment. Quite sure why it's not showing J-Tray on out lap, but it is. Furthest one round though is Creamer, so we'll go on board with him. Not this on board, this feels a bit personal. But yeah, round he goes. Most key exit on the track. The exit of this corner sets you onto a straight which covers about a third of the track. It's a sector pretty much all by itself. Kind of mad that you use so much ERS in a sector that's mostly not even on this lap. You spend most of the first part of it just braking. As yes, he's very committed now. He's all over the curbs, trying to reduce as much of his track travel distance as possible. Slightly drifts out, gets the turn in for Decina de Largo. He's got a bit of traffic here, but they seem to have spotted him. Got a Red Bull just down the road from him that he needs to look out for. Will he get out of the way? He does. So allows Creamer to carry on without too much harassment. And if he plays his cards right, he might just get a slipstream down this back straight. As we have a huge gaggle of cars all jockeying for position. They've not got long left of this session. Has Creamer done enough to maybe pinch a bit of time when all the others are going to trip over each other? As he goes, 108.1. 1.5 tenth improvement. But yeah, now we're seeing the huge gaggle of cars coming over the line. Got Mulshan, the first sector only margin improvement, as Tash does improve on his time. Fantastic. But that is now him retiring from the session. Off the track though, mind. You can see it on the track map there. Relatively new, so I'm not quite sure how the rules sit with retirements on track evening qualifying. Has Mulshan gained any time over this middle sector? We also have Chawan and those towards the bottom of the grid retiring from the session. Persegili as ever retired early on. Mulshan looks very calm on this lap. As he goes P4. What a jump. We've got Max Duca following the Alfa Romeo to the line. Doesn't improve. Do we have anybody that can improve? What about Pilot? We didn't catch it at the end as it was the last car across the line, but there is your qualifying standings as it finishes. Now, with obviously dark conditions, we'll have to wait and see exactly what that means for the race. But we know Brazil offers up fantastic racing, wet or dry. So down the order we go. we have the Ferraris finally split by AVT Pasti and the Red Bull. AVT Pasti and Tash will share the front row of the grid. Gabs and Mushan the second, Rising Moon and Creamer the third. Max Duke will start directly behind his teammate Rising Moon and looking for some first corner action. Dominic in P8, Pilot in P9, Batch Lightyear in P10. And we round out the rear positions of J-Tray, Chawan, Solid Ninja Snake, Rivershan and Persegili, who elected. A few things in here. So about incidents, just a few invalidations and a few warnings. But we are about to get underway with what I believe is 35 laps or 36 laps of the Brazilian Grand Prix. I can't wait. If you have any predictions based off the qualifying positions, we'd like to hear them, as it does look like we're going to be nice and sunny, nice and dry for this race. As we are just waiting for the drivers to make their final setup changes or what they can change in part fairway conditions. A little bit off front wing, maybe firm up the tyre pressures, and obviously work out how much fuel you want to take, and obviously what tyre strategies you want to play out as well. Can be just as like the race. Brazil does offer usually at least one safety car, but we're hoping we stay nice and clean for this last round of the season. But drama often comes in the form of safety cars, but we don't want any shorts of drama just on accounting of avoiding safety cars. We'll be getting underway shortly as we watch the marshals hopelessly staring at the pit wall. Hopefully they're having some good banter worth staring at the pit wall. Good to at least see that they fixed the T-posing of the pit crews, whilst amusing did feel for their well-being. And 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights, and away we go. Looks like the two Ferraris doing a great start. They're not going to sandwich AVT Pasti, but AVT Pasti has got in the lead. He jumps both Ferraris. But further back, it looks like Rising Moon has gone across the Ferrari of Gabs. Serious wing damage for Gabs. There's a small reset to track. And we immediately have a safety car. I did not wish it upon them. But there we are. We have a safety car. Albeit before the exit of the third corner. As we see, yeah, Gabs and Rising Moon came together. Not sure if there was a rear tap before Rising Moon came across Gabs. And there's your tyre data, which is oh so key to the racing. So the two hard tyre runners at the front had a great start and removed some of their competition behind them. So we're highly unlikely that anybody goes into the pits, barring the two drivers with damage. Come to think of it, potentially Rising Moon didn't get any damage. Gabs definitely did. Rising Moon does seem unscathed. I highly expect that one to be seen in the steward's office after the race. So yeah, drama immediately. What the center S's do have a habit of making people cross their lines, and if they get on a different exit, game plans can be drastically compromised for the exit of turn 3. As you'd have multiple cars pitting. With Gabs, Rising Moon does go into the pits, potentially had some other damage. And Rivershan also coming in. But getting out much quicker, so potentially just a tyre change. Potentially will look to run this hard tyre as far as he can. Gabs only just got out of the pits, so he had a fair bit of damage to repair. Hopefully we'll get back underway racing as soon as possible. As you can just see, Rivershant in the background there. One of the beautiful things about this circuit is the undulating nature of it. You can, if you're looking up from one side of the circuit, you can see cars on the other half of the track pointing up to the heavens. As Bert Meyerlander tries his absolute hardest to try and keep AVT Pasty happy, which I'm sure he won't be. Hard tyres on after the first lap will be pretty cold, but at least he'll be happy that he'll have his ERS redeployed, and if you're looking to keep that man Tash directly behind him out of his mirrors, he'll look to make a good jump on this restart. Very difficult track to plan a restart, because you can have quite late braking manoeuvres into the first corner, but at the same time you do not want to just be jumping straight out the final corner. You offer too much slipstream to the cars behind. As I highly suspect safety car will be in this lap. For those of you that maybe not picked up on it yet, that message comes up when the safety car does cross the end of sector 2. But following a sports car around this undulating tight section in the middle of the track, quite painful for those in superior machinery. And we should get that message in 3, 2, 1. There we go. As now AVT Pasty will be forced by the game to slow and let the safety car run away. He'll need one eye on his mirror, one eye on the track map to watch where the safety car is, and one eye on the road. And that's the point where you run out of eyes. You have to choose two. And he has gone. Small snap to the inside and away. And that has allowed Max Duca to get a bit of a jump on Tash here, but not quite enough to lunge for a move just yet. A bit further back we have Pilot, looked like he went for a deep one. It goes all over the curbing. This is going to invite Dominique back into the fray. Dominique looking to point his nose down the inside, but Pilot has covered that one off. Pilot parking his car in the middle of the track. Dominique trying to go around the outside into Decina de Largo. Gets his nose ahead initially. Keeps it just about on track and ahead. Fantastic move. Joins Creamer, his teammate, as we watch J-Trade look to go off track to try and get a line on Pilot. As we move further up to the battle for the lead, Pasty, who did seem to get a good jump initially, has not quite left Tash just yet. As this battle for the lead is very, very tight. There's the top 5 are just breaking away. AVT Pasty, with no one's having to watch and his braking, does seem to get a better exit out of the final turn. No DRS yet until 2 laps after the safety car's gone in, as Pilot does get back past Dominique, but we have multiple movements going the pit straight with 2x2 as we enter into the center S's. Pilot comes out ahead. But what about the leaders? AVT goes a bit prematurely defensive. Does that compromise him into Decina de Largo? Not just yet. Oh, this pack is so close at the rear. Oh, as J-Trade goes for an audacious dive down the inside. A small touch. As Dominique is still there, he's got the faster outside line here, but J-Trade's going to have the benefit of the inside here. Let's not repeat Albon and Hamilton. They're still side by side. J-Trade feeling massively confident on these tyres as we get touching again. But J-Tray, after all his efforts there, nothing quite doing. J-Tray just managed to keep it on track, does cross the pit lane exit, does seem to have superior speed. Both Aston Martins seem to be coming now. A small lock above the brakes as the Aston Martin of Persegili gets tagged. Wants a good exit, can't get it. Dominic is in the way. Persegili's going to have to pick a side. Does do so. He chooses the outside into Decina de Lago. We've got crazy movements down the inside, but they think better of it. And Persegili does get ahead, but round the outside is going to become the inside for the next corner. Joins his Aston Martin teammate inside the top 10. And we have Batch Lightyear under pressure from Pilot. Pilot who's taking to the inside, but now gets crowded out to the outside. Can he get a cutback, or does he brave around the outside? Doesn't get either done. Is this going to leave him susceptible to J-Tray? As we've noticed on the timing screens, that AVT Pasty has launched a bit of a gap over Tash. He's out of DRS. We're going to board with Max Duca. He's looking mighty feisty. Going to throw one down the inside. Does not get it done. But further back we have Creamer and Mooshland fighting over some scraps for the podiums. Further down, Solid Ninja Snake has got past Gabs. Gabs is just having an awful race so far. Batchlight really following close on the back of Pilot. Pilot, who is at the moment a bit of a sitting duck with no DRS support. The top 5 have very much left him to suffer. As in Sector 2 we have Rivershan. He's just gone round, it seems, no obvious damage. And Dominique dropping right down the order. He's going to have to join Chawan in his battle. As we pick up Mushlan, who's been silky smooth over the last few races with his driving. Smoothness will help him on the exit of the last corner. But he doesn't seem the top line speed, or at least he's fighting DRS with DRS. As Bachelaya does get past Pilot and gets back on the racing line before the Center S. As Dominic does pit. This could be suspected damage. Is he having to repair a wing? He does. He had wing damage. As we have Creamer getting past Max Duca. Sorry, we've just missed that one. We've got Pilot getting re-overtaken by Batch Lightyear. Aston Martin's looking impatient. As we found out previous weeks, there is no team orders at Aston Martin. As Rising Moon dropping down positions. Okay, he went a little bit deep into turn 10. Looks like J-Tray didn't get the best exit there, and Persegili is going to come back at him. DRS open for both, but Persegili doesn't care about that. We're going 2x2 into center S. Both moves round the outside get done. So that was Pilot past Batch Lightyear and Persegili past J-Tray. As Pilot goes ultra defensive initially, then pulls back to the racing line. Aston Martin squabbling again. There's a yellow flag in sector 2. That's Mulchen. He's going to fall back right into this big pack of cars. Disaster. The top 5 battle has become 4. And we also have Max Duca going round. Top 5 has become 4, become 3. Needs to be careful on his rejoin here. Still ghosted, but safe enough. As Persegili's also slipped up. Got multiple drivers pitting in now. As J-Tree gets an unfortunate penalty speeding in the pit lane. Oh, I don't know where to look. Better Lightyear trying to get back on Pilot. DRS open, he's on the inside. Can he get it stopped into Destino Largo? As that causes Pilot to get a time penalty. I wonder if that will be reviewed after the race. But he feels got nothing left to lose here. Pilot, he's up the inside. He gets a bit of a snap. Can he keep his nose in? He's going to have to let Lightyear go round the outside. But can he get a cutback, or can he keep it round the outside? Using up a lot of tyres to keep this battle alive. Great side-by-side racing, but then that pushes him wide, and that makes Pilot lose his rear. He might be great for that, though. That means he's going to get DRS support down this straight, but he has jumped the gun early. He's going to let everybody chase him. I don't think that was the wisest move. He's compromised his exit. Mudstone is going to come back at this. Mudstone, he feels wronged on the previous laps. Goes around the outside, reclaims the line early. This batch of Pilot has also got this one done. Down the inside. Sends Pilot wide. Pilot still kept a bit of track there. Gone across the curb. But now Max Duca, he's been spun round. He's a bit out of position. Comes up the inside. And gets a move done. Slots in a nice little gap there. As Gabs gets a cheeky little move down the inside there as well. Very hard to take my eyes away from this battle. It goes all the way back from P4. One more drops out of top three. This string of cars will be for the podium. Great management so far by AVT Pasti. Just keeping Tash outside that DRS detection. How well can Mushan defend this here? He's been proving to be silky smooth on his exit. As you have Gabs already going around the outside of Pilot. Pilot fighting him all the way. Gets his nose in first, the apex. Does that compromise Gabs against Solid Ninja Snake? Solid Ninja Snake picking up the slipstream. That Gabs is just a bit down on ERS after he tried to force his way back into this race. Lightyear, every single time I seem to see him on the timing screens, he's within only a couple of tenths of the car ahead of him. He's like being tugged along with a piece of string. Takes a bit of a wider line in. Tries to get the tighter line on this next one. He goes off track a little bit there in an attempt to keep a tight line. Potentially look for a lunge into turn 10. But here comes Creamer on Tash. AVT Pasti has left Tash vulnerable in this particular duel. And Creamer on the mediums, still with a bit of life, gets past Tash. But will Tash potentially use this as an opportunity to get DRS back and slingshot him back at AVT Pasti? AVT Pasti loving this though. He has gained about 2 tenths in this duel behind him. As Tash, as it bad goes to worse, picks up a time penalty in that battle. As that Pilot very sturdily holding on to that position, as AVT Pasti has gone round. The leader of the Grand Prix has gone round, and Cream inherits the lead. Now AVT Pasti can still hold on to a podium here if he can just light his tyres back up, cool them down. Being particularly protective of that apex. Mushan has gained very quickly. So yeah, this battle now, as I mentioned before, this long string of cars that's been oh so close together is now a fight for the last podium spot. Now the downside for Creamer is on the medium tyre. He's going to want to pit earlier, but I'm not sure he particularly wants to pit into this battle. He doesn't want to be anywhere near this, and it stretches for a good 5 to 10 seconds. As Moonshine got close, maybe saved to beat RS. AVT Pasti has had to use some to try and fight him on the pit straight. Moonshine electing not to go in just yet. As further back, we've got Gabs and Pilot going side by side round the scene of the Largo, and Gabs has got that position. Pilot looking to show some interest around the outside, but is going to dissipate that challenge relatively quickly. As Moonshine has been overtaken by Batch Lightyear, and he thinks, you know what, I'm going to have a crack at this. And Moonshine has actually relinquished 2 places there. Max Duke has got past as well. Didn't quite see what happened to him there. So he's just a little wide at one of the corners. And Gabs, who was running near the top to begin with, joining this battle. He was fighting for the podium positions to begin with. Now fighting for it in a much different kind of way. As Moonshine does elect first one to go for a standard pit. We know he's probably going to go onto the hard tyres, so we'll leave him be. So AVT Pasti does seem to have recovered well. As Tash does get past Creamer around the scene of Largo. Creamer is coming back. Just look at the guys up front, the lead they've managed to keep when they've stayed out of any incidents, out of any spins, running their own race. Up into turn 10 we go. Now Creamer, having lost that position, is this now the time that he wants to consider going onto the hard tyres? I think he'll maybe see what kind of traction he gets out of the final corner, what sort of challenge he can give to the hard tyre at this moment. Or does he run a little bit longer and have a hard tyre that's very usable towards the end of the Grand Prix? He does carry on. We're just going to quickly go back to Batch Lightyear, who is lining up an overtake on Max Duca. Gets it done into turn 1. As we do go back to Creamer, who's looking to the outside. It's actually gone very, very defensive. As it looks like we've had a spinner in sector 3. I think that was Mouchlan. So Creamer does get that position back. Now, is this just an attempt to ruin Tash's long run pace on these hard tyres? For all intents and purposes, when you're on the hard tyre, you just want to be left alone. Let me do a stint. Let me keep the time of this stint reasonable. Don't let me get hindered. I know I'm not going to have good 1 lap pace, but let me just have it over these 20 laps. And then again, was Tash fighting a losing battle anyway? He does have that time penalty. Is second the best he can hope for today if him and Creamer are this equally paced? Creamer still electing to stay out. We're going to join a battle a little bit further back because Gabs wants that position back off Max Duca. Ferrari Power versus Ferrari Power. To get out of the throttle a little bit as he looks to move on the outside. But then Max Duca has gone deep. He's allowed Gabs through. And it doesn't look like that was intentional for DRS. Certainly not as Gabs is going to get DRS anyway. So we're still very engaged in this battle. This AVT Pasti all the way back to Chawan. That's 7 or 8 cars, all in the space of just a couple of corners. As we have Gabs diving one down the inside of Batch Lightyear. Gabs finally starting to look like he's going to regain the positions he had earlier on in the race. Great long run pace from Gabs. Further back, Percy Geely throwing one down the inside. A solid Ninja Snake. So at this point, very difficult to tell who's got any sort of advantage in this DRS train. All just so close at the moment. But what about Pilot? Looking at Max Duca. That's as close as I've seen him be. Max Duca has also picked up DRS on Batch Lightyear, so all just dragging each other along. Move further back, Michelin after his troubles has got past Rising Moon, is going to go after J-Tray, who is glitching just that little bit. As we approach the halfway point in the Grand Prix, surely this is a sensible time for Creamer to pit. Because at the moment he's just providing nice, useful data to Tash about how well these medium tyres are running. Not many of the top medium runners really electing to pit so far. They're clearly feeling very good on them. Either that or there's a lot of drivers banking on a safety car. Which, granted, when you've got racing this close, you do expect them. Bax Lightyear is edging towards losing that DRS assistance, as you've seen Chowan getting past Solid Ninja Snake. But J-Tray and Michelin round. Or Dominique and Michelin, sorry. Michelin not having the best time here, showing great pace, but when it comes to wheel, he is losing out. Now, what really Creamer really do here? As I've noticed, Batch Lightyear has now lost that DRS assistance. Max Duca may not get a chance to make a move on here because Pilot is coming along very nicely. As I've just spotted, Creamer has pitted, so now he has finally taken the bait. He couldn't hold on to the medium tyres for much longer. As Pilot has gone for a very audacious move down the middle of the track, but to the inside, and has got to cut across the track through the centre S, and that's allowed Persegili through. What looked so promising has now turned to disaster for Pilot. Pasty had that spin earlier on, is very much in this battle now. He is still yet to pit, but he's caught up those who he was originally planning on battling for the top positions. As Chowan picks up a 3-second time penalty. But Michelin and Rising Moon are crossing paths again. Now Tash, considering how hard he was finding it to keep up with the Creamer before, maybe he was waiting to see some lap times from him. As we have an Alfa Romeo of Max Duca heading into the pits. This battle for that last spot on the podium is starting to fracture now, starting to break apart. Strategy amongst tyres is starting to come into play. As Persegili just hangs it out. As Creamer passes those in the pit and says, "Thank you very much, I don't have to fight for these." As Pilot has got back past Persegili. Who saw that coming? As the mediums just showing to be oh so strong at 20 laps in. But that being said, maybe good on wear, but not been too far advanced on pace. It's the hard tyres. As Persegili lines this up. May not want to think about extending too much energy though. These medium tyre runners could pit the sign of any trouble. As they do both go into the pits. Oh, Persegili just gets to slow down. We're going to stay on board with this. We're going to see if these two that were fighting tooth and nail. As Creamer takes a few more free positions. Who is faster in the pits? Aston Martin or McLaren? Oh, and Pilot has just got out marginally ahead. Great work from the McLaren crew. They have recently picked a pretty nice record in real life. But Creamer currently in free air. He's got 2 cars ahead of him, both on mediums, who should be pitting very, very shortly. And then he's just left to take on the final 2 drivers that still have to pit off the hard tyres. So Creamer is back in a net P1 and he's extended his gap on Tash. Well played, Creamer. I think the undercut has very much worked for him there. As we are yet to see how much further we think these hard tyres can go. As I've just remembered, Gabs did pit lap 1. Ooh, now that was caught on stream and was a reset to track or a glitch that reset him back into the pit lane. I'm not sure if anybody wants to relook at that after the session. As Creamer finally starting to get held up behind Solid Ninja Snake, having to take the long way around the exit. He's going to open his DRS and claim the racing line, going into the scene of the Largo, and has now only got AVT Pasty to take on, who is going to be on aging tyres at this point. As we have a few drivers gone to soft tyres. Pilot wanting to fight Persegili with the fastest rubber available. And he's going to need it with Max Duca. So this is super key for Pilot's battle. Because he definitely hasn't been able to shake Persegili, but it's not exactly been waving him through either. Just got on board with J-Tray. He's been pretty quiet. Very much dropped. Oh, as Mushan has gone round again. And Persegili, soft tyres or not, is going round the outside of Pilot. Persegili with it, setting the fastest lap of the race. And he's going to get straight on the back of Max Duca, who is on medium tyres. Soft tyres, sorry. Can he pull off the same trick? Not just yet. Max Duca hoping he can use those soft tyres to better effect than Pilot did. But it does look like Persegili's expended a fair bit of energy to get that move done. Nice to see you guys joining the stream. If you have any predictions for the final part of the race, it does look like Creamer's going to take it. But if you can see, if you can rub your crystal ball and see anything happening that might upset that, we'd love to hear it. There's Tash, very important move for his charge at Creamer. Guess that means gets free DRS without needing to make an actual move, but how much is being stuck behind Solid Ninja Snake going to cost him overall? His gap is down to under 4 seconds. At this point, I don't think it's so much about catching Creamer, but he needs to catch him, pass him, and build a gap of 3 seconds. That is where the tall order lies. A Solid Ninja Snake dropping a lot of positions. Maybe not the best time to pit in this Grand Prix. Overtaking is possible here, so maybe not the end of the world, but definitely going to hinder his overall race time as he comes out behind the Haas of Dominique, who's still going quite long on these hard tyres. As the battle for P4 very much resumes. Oh no, this is the battle for P3 because AVT Pasty is still yet to pit. So Batcher Lightyear is currently in a net P3. Gabs with DRS, firing himself at Mac Duca. And I can't help but notice the track is starting to get a little dark. Gabs looking for an outside, going to the inside. and gets the move done into Decina del Lago. Bachelor Lightyear looking very interested on Persegili. Now, are we going to have a dramatic end to this Grand Prix? It was blazing sunshine when we started, but that is definitely grey. Looking up from the front wing of Bachelor Lightyear, it is definitely looking grey. We have 10 laps remaining. Is it worth throwing on a set of inters if the rain does start to come down? We've had many sessions of Brazil hindered and helped by the rain in the past. Who's it going to benefit? Who's it going to hinder? Hello, Mr. Retro. Thank you for joining the stream. As Bachelor Lightyear using the slipstream into the center S's. He's going to pick up DRS. Persegili gets a great exit. Then bogs down a little bit in the second phase. DRS does open for Bachelor Lightyear. He's coming, but I don't think it's going to be quite enough. No. He's got another couple of laps to try and fight this one out. As Creamer has picked up a time penalty, and that now equalises the battle with Tash, who is very much closing. He's half the time, the time difference since we last were keeping up with him. And they are catching on AVT Pasti. AVT Pasti potentially trying to play either a safety car or trying to do a little rain dance in his cockpit. If this would help, either one of those would help him. Bachelor Lightyear much closer this time. Close battles behind as well. We'll pick those up when they show promise. Yeah, it's a much better exit from Bachelor Lightyear now. DRS opens. I reckon he's going to be on his nose, underneath his rear wing by the end of the straight. He is, but nowhere near enough to make a lunge. Rising Moon has picked up a time penalty, but I don't think it'll bother him too much with being that far down. Rivershan overtaking J-Tray quite comfortably into the Decina del Lago. The soft tyres are just starting to go off now. Medium tyres are leaving them behind. No spots of rain just yet. Creamer has just overtaken AVT Pasti as AVT Pasti dives into the pits. And now the battle for the lead resumes. 1 and 2 on track as they were in net. Tash is in DRS. And it looks like AVT Pasti is going to feed himself quite poorly back into the pack. He will have the best of tyres amongst those on them. And now we have a straight shootout. 7 laps to finalise who stands on the top of the podium. So it's 9 lap hard against 7 lap mediums. The mediums that showed themselves to be so strong early on. Tash very much looking confident here. Now the thing is with Brazil, with it being about 2/3 DRS availability, does he really want to pass him straight away, or does he want to leave it till later in the Grand Prix? Here he comes. Not choosing to use overtake just yet. Does like Creamer is either slowing Tash down. Tash getting a great exit here. I think he's going to get him into the Decina del Lago. Creamer choosing the optimal line. Creamer moves late and off the line, but it doesn't matter to Tash. He reacts well, goes to the outside and covers off the move. Both cars go off track, but all's fair in love and war. Hard fighting, and Tash will try and use his mediums now to try and scurry away with this, as they are going to come up to some lapping traffic of Rising Moon ever so shortly. but that should be the only one they catch before the end of the race. Creamer hasn't quite been left behind just yet. I think he might have one lap of an opportunity to try and get back close, as he's a bit snaky on the exit. Rising Moon sets the fastest lap of the race. Maybe about to get lapped, but he's really shown good for himself at the back. So Creamer does get the top speed and does close up, but the key parts here are these traction zones, where Tash, with the fresher medium tyres, is just neutralising the gain that Creamer's getting on the straights, being in DRS detection. So I think Tash can ride this one out to the end. We go further back to Gabs, who's had a very, very feisty race. And a bit further back we have Pilot going ultra defensive. Down the inside, can both cars keep it on track? Yes, they can. Pilot moves up. Oh, as Gabs gets a bit twitchy and incredible power slide round there. As they are slowly catching Persegili, who is heading the front of this podium battle that's been established for quite a while. The Rising Moon now looks to be the fastest man on track. J-Tray getting past Dominique, but then having to give it back around the outside. Hello, Berry. Nice to have you. Nice to see you in the comments. Can you foresee anything still happening in this race? How about Dominique trying to throw one round the outside of J-Tray? He elects for the cutback instead. He's going to play DRS chicken onto the final straight. Looks like Dominique's going to pick up a slipstream and DRS here. He's already very close. Already got the bare exit. Dominique goes to the outside. J-Tray throws him a bit of a shape there, but gets ahead. But then J-Tray throws a dangerous one back down the inside. Dominic wanted the high line, wanted to swoop in, but then left the door wide open. Great battling here for the minor positions. As Dominic comes back again, as they almost touch. Thank you very much, Berry. Try my best with a croaky throat. And here he goes. Dominic round the outside. Can J-Tray throw one back again? No. Dominic covers it off, but no, then J-Tray, as the track opens back up, throws it back in again. It does not matter where on the track these two are. They're giving it absolutely everything. Dominic tries to throw it around the outside. Both cars bogged down on the exit. Got a feeling this one's going to go all the way to the end. I'm just going to throw it forward. I'm so sorry. I'm going to see what's going on with the leaders. Creamer is still keeping in touch. Maybe a last lap move. It's got very, very dark, but still no rain. AVT past Max Duca. Max Duca not happy with that, though. He's going to try around the outside, get squeezed to the grass. Can he do what J-Tray did and try and throw one back in? No, not yet. Everyone's settling down. I think anybody who thinks they can make moves in the final part of the race is going to wait for the last part of the race. As J-Tray gets back past again. Can't wait to see how these two are going to finish this race. Now Gab's picking up DRS. Has been pretty low on ERS for most of this second stint, and that is hindering him very much on this battle. Persegili just managing this gap, but what he can't manage is how quickly these guys get their DRS wide open. Great drivers can just run so little downforce and fight assists like DRS on merit. Now our favourite battle towards the end of the race, Dominic and J-Tray still going. As Dominic has now matched J-Tray's time penalty, which spices up even more. Persky just doing a fantastic job of managing this. Shows why he is the league champion of this division. So in interest of fairness, we're not going to show ERS usage just in case any of the drivers are listening, but it does very much seem that Gabs has used up his. Batch Lightyear is struggling with straight line speed, and Gabs can't use his speed because of the lack of ERS. So it looks like this is how this is going to finish. Like Creamer, I can only imagine is looking for a last lap overtake, potentially into Decina de Largo. Looks a little bit sketchy on his front, but is going to push Tash all the way. But we are going to stay on board with this because I suspect this is going to get very, very spicy, and we're going to catch up with every single battle as they cross the line. But our main attention is going to go to this one, as Creamer needs the exit of all exits to try and chase Tash down here. He doesn't have to catch him on this straight. He just needs to get up close. He just needs to pick his line going into center S's. That's competitive with Tash. Is closing well on this straight. Tash isn't. Look, okay, he's going to fight this one. I reckon if he makes a move, he'll let him have it. Gets a little bit bogged down. Almost runs into the back of him. He gets to get out of the throttle. Has to get out again on the exit to center S. How much has this affected his run? First one, I'm sorry about these onboards here. As Creamer does get ahead. Goes around the outside of the Decina de Largo. Fantastic move. Creamer's clearly been planning that one for several laps. Both drivers completely out of ERS here. Will anything be done in the infield section? Creamer defending for all his might. Covering the inside line. Choosing a relatively neutral line through there. You don't necessarily need to cover this one off. Tash is going to go round wide anyway. Creamer doesn't get the best exit out of turn 10. Now they just need to absolutely smash their throttle as they get around here. Maximum traction essay, but Creamer doesn't get on the power very well. What does this mean for Tash? Can he race him to the line? DRS is going to open. He's got no ERS left to use. The line is coming quick for Creamer, but Tash is coming quicker still. Will they make it to the line? Creamer does make it. 26 thousandths of a second on the line. As Persky manages a very well-deserved P3, leading Batch Lightyear in, and then Gabs across the line. AVT Pasty had to recover well, finishes P6. Max Duca well in that battle as we went through the two McLarens coming across the line in P8 and 9. Solid Interstate having to lead Rivershant across the line. But what about our battle we were keeping up with from earlier? Dominic and J-Tray. J-Tray has gone off into the distance, but our Dominic is now tyres and just flew. J-Tray has got a 5-second time penalty, so maybe may fall behind still. And Dominic does beat Mushan to line, but Mushan does take it on penalties. J-Tray did get enough of a gap to see off those drivers there. And whew, what a Brazilian Grand Prix. I'm so glad you could join us for that one. We're going to get a shot of the positions and have a quick run through, as Persky, rightly so, did get driver of the day from the game. Kept it nice and clean and saw off a battle very, very well. If I had to give any nominations for a driver of the day, I think Pilot would be up there. He had to fend off so much to just get the position. He did lose out later on, which is why I wouldn't give him an outright driver of the day. As the Haas get to do a bit of rare celebrating alongside Aston Martin and Ferrari. And there you have it. Creamer, despite the 3-second time penalty, does see off Tash. He had to come all the way from P6. I think that's a nomination for driver of the day all in itself. Batch Lightyear, seemingly struggling with straight line speed, does get P4 finish. Gabs, who got pushed back quite early on in the race, a good fight back to P5. AVT Pasty, who was on pole, just span all by himself and never quite really recovered. Max Duca just seemingly in the middle of that long DRS battle for a long time. Pilot, like I mentioned, at the head of that battle for a long time. Solomon just saying never quite really got into this one, neither did Rivishan. Shawan just seems to be lacking a bit of pace today. J-Tray seems to have good pace, a good fight, but the fight kept him in the fight, and that's all he could really do. Couldn't really move up much. Mulsan showed good pace, was very smooth, but then just I think didn't quite get on tyre strategy. Then Dominique and Rising Moon. So yeah, thank you everyone for joining us. That concludes this season of AOR Racing, round 15 in Brazil. You can catch all the standings on the website. And until next season, that's it from me, Greg the Woofafa. And yeah, if you haven't already joined in the fun. AOR does F1, Ace Assetto Corsa, Competizione, Gran Turismo, amongst others, and iRacing. So yeah, lots of stuff for you to get your teeth dug into if you want to join in with some racing, or you can just join us here on the channel and you can join in with a lot of action. Drop some comments, drop some likes, drop a subscribe if you haven't already. We're here for the fun, we're here for the racing, we're here for chasing down those lap times. Until next year on this, for myself, have a good one. Have a nice Christmas, Happy New Year. Goodbye.